Disclaimer: this is a work of fiction. Unless otherwise indicated, all the names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents in this story are either the product of the author's imagination or used in a fictitious manner. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. I want to say thank you for making your success my success, my thirst for knowledge to achieve greatness, not by arrogance of having something done by me or for me and for me only, but to awaken curiosity in all of your minds and achieving excellence. Curiosity and persistence to show you all that you can succeed, and pay me with excitement of have helped you reflected upon me. You succeeded, and so do I, by contrast. Thank you for shining a light upon my loneliness. Hope prevails. Humanity, safety, and happiness can be shared to the world, providing light in a dark and sad world. This story is titled Free Yourself from a Laboratory Story. I couldn't understand why or how I ended up in that laboratory. I felt at ease, and then later I found out that something has been lost from me, and I couldn't tell what it was. I felt anxious after feeling at ease, while thinking that all this turn of emotions swirled together. Unknown to me, I was being watched. After a while of being by myself, a woman showed up next to a man and started asking questions. I answered few of them while getting angry and anxious, and then I tried explaining to her what was going on. When I asked her and it was my turn, she gave vague answers and couldn't completely explain what was going on while she was standing with a man. She looked at me, and so I started yelling at her to get out of there because I did not want to be a prisoner. When she left with the guy, the woman locked the door behind her. And at that Later, I knew that I wasn't only watched, but I was being held as a prisoner for not knowing what happened before it. I understood the great severity of the situation that was being displayed. Minutes later, the same woman showed up with a man by the door. And that's when I started explaining to her what I thought had happened to me before arriving there. Stories that sound impossible, like being shot at with a real gun. After that, living as a homeless person on the streets, and then trying to make the impossible possible to get back to my friends and classmates from school. She listened cautiously and curiously, trying to know how to solve this. And after some conversation, I told her I came back. Sounded weird. I came back and I didn't know how, but I did came back. Easily from a place that anyone can call hell. And after breaking up and crying for what was done to me and others from the place I came, something was wrong when I remembered this, and I tried to explain it to her when I cried on her lap, and then she left. So when I explained all of this, she looked at me, and her answer was to easily say that I was infected and that I needed to be injected with chemicals with needles. Women and men injecting me chemicals with needles. They all gather up to inject me with chemicals and potions. More women and men with chemicals, with needles, poking me with needles. These women and men were doing it with the intent to supposedly cure, but unknown to them, they were hurting me and they were injecting me with poison and chemicals. This laboratory was a horrible place to be in. After a while, I felt dizzy and fell. And then when I woke up, there was a man who showed up that believed that because of all this that happened and I was telling truths to people around me, they started questioning themselves, and that's when this man arrived with a manuscript, thinking that because I was smart to tell them what had happened, I will be able to decipher what the manuscript said. He intended to sell it for a small fortune to anyone by deciphering it. But when I told him that I could read it and all these things that showed up, I told him that there was a curse on it and he would not be able to sell it. I told him to read the book Think and Grow Rich, as it will give it what he wanted. The manuscript, like a letter from the future, was designed and written in a special language only decipherable by a few people that holds a terrible knowledge. So after he insisted on me telling him, I read it from first to last page, astounded as what it said in it. Things that are uneasy to understand, like virtual realities and the recycling of events over and over within a specific area. This manuscript and the letter resembles a letter from the future as to guidance of what happened and what will happen. So all of these instances that happened, the event that followed after the women and the men with needles injected me with poison, eroding my confidence little by little, allowing them to question each other what they were doing. And when the arrival of these men with the manuscript wanted answers, it all swirled together. It was as if it was meant to happen. The resemblance, more like the little pieces that remain from this reality, for giving gifts, for dancing, for acting, for singing, for creating. From all of these amazing things that were happening there was a dark event that was gonna be unfolded. At the moment, I did not know that after crossing the parallel universe, anything made by me will be forgotten. Will be forgotten, and the creator and the author forgotten, to the memory of something that sounds impossible that happened. These details were that everything created will be uploaded into the cloud right before any structural technological cloud will be created. These ideas, songs, creations, acting, dances, they all were uploaded into a vast array of quantum programming cloud. No matter where things are, they can be recovered after the great wipe, the mind wipe, with these events that happen. It is astounding and unbelievable to think that these events happen, and sometimes people don't have the recollection in memories to remember it. It is like all of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice so that others may reach the stars was being eluded or avoided as a topic. So this was like a prophecy from the manuscript in which there was no escape. My classmates and my friends tried to tell me to get out of there, to free myself, to be away from the laboratory, and they designed many ideas to get me out. But my hope was getting My hopes was lost. Without hope, I did not know what else to focus on. So all of these prophecies from the manuscript is that some people were gonna die, but not only die, but be tortured and mutilated, which was really sad. I said my goodbyes, and I tried to explain to people that I could read the manuscript, and it was too much of a wide perspective to grasp in few minutes. So I tried to do my best to cheer myself up. At least when I come back in a parallel universe, I can share some of that wisdom with you, some physics equations and what happened, and try to explain it on paper, mathematical equations, and tell you everything that happened in between, and tell you all the stories that happened, thinking about them in the past and the future. All these mathematical and physical equations that are and can be mapped will be as a testament and will to future generations to able to analyze and decode for the betterment of humanity. All I can tell you is, if this sounds familiar, it is because it is a black box recording from a parallel universe that happened, that ended up in a catastrophe. And this manuscript was sent specifically for few select people to be able to read, and the displacement of parallel universes and parallel worlds. I continue moving forward now, knowing this, persistent with hope and grit. And remember, when you're facing horrible events, keep moving forward. And then you wonder if you did the best to survive after all of this. Know that you can keep moving forward. You women and men that were by my side, you're a light that shines upon my progress and my perseverance. Hope can be restored. These stories can make sense someday. Even though they're unexplainable, they'll be explainable later on when analyzed. Mathematical, physical equations, extracorporeal, senses, death, places horrible as hell, and machine analyzing it, machine learning from it, and looking to answer questions about how this could have happened and how it can be avoided in the future. Trust is important. We just have to choose who to trust. Our eyes open after who we were together with, that sold their alliance to someone else. This is my story. Thank you for listening. This is a black box recording for a parallel universe. This is my and your story. Thank you.